Hey, everybody. For a moment, I want to talk a little bit about anti heroes and Dexter Resurrection and Breaking Bad and Into the Wild. And what are these things all have in common? I was thinking about kind of like anti heroes. And I love a good anti hero. It's like the only type of superhero that feels relatable. I have never been one to enjoy like the Superman or Spider-Man or whatever. I liked Laura Croft, the original, just because of Angelina Jolie. But even that, like, I didn't like that type of action because it was so, um, I could see why it would be fun and entertaining, but it's just so fantastical. It's like they might as well have been like riding dragons. Like the abilities are so just impossible. And I mean, maybe that's just an escape for some people. And I like a lot of super like fantasy fiction. I don't know. I liked Game of Thrones and I liked Sex in the City, and that was really unrealistic. And all these shows like have this element that is like super unrealistic in some way. But anyway, um, besides like the escape, I want something that I can like relate to on some level. And I think that's what makes the best entertainment is it is entertaining and it is an escape, but it's also original and relatable. And so I'm kind of going to bounce all over the place. It's just like stream of thought. I have to get this out. This is like a total side note here. I have to make a video. I have to do something. And I've been really trying for like a couple of years now to be one of these people that can just talk about positive things and the more spiritual side and the more esoteric states of being and ways. But I don't know. Maybe, maybe I'm just like a cold hearted bitch. I don't know what the deal is, but that's just like not, I'm just not there. And I'm rewatching Dexter. I love Breaking Bad. I'm a super fan, and I'm a big fan of Dexter. In one of my older videos, some guy randomly commented a couple months back, like, and he said something, it was like the strangest comment, but I had to respond because nobody watches my videos and someone had taken the time to comment. So I really appreciated that. Plus, it's really hard for me to respond back to comments for some reason. It's something to do with my anxiety and like my nervous system. So I'm like making this diligent effort to respond back. And he said something like, "Oh, I really like women like you. Basically, y'all are a hot mess, and it's pretty entertaining. And you know what you need? You need a good man in your life." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And because I didn't know really what he was saying or why he said it, so I was just like, "Oh, thanks, I guess," you know. And then he responded back, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't mean that as a compliment." And I was like, "Oh, well, okay. Actually, though." I don't need a good man in my life. I tried that. I looked for 20 years and, the problem, I sought everything external to find some type of like internal fulfillment or like this deeper truth or way to live myself. And I came up empty handed every time because whether it was a partner or like a drug or Nutella, it just did not feel like the holes in my soul. It had to come from some like not navigating even with those holes or maybe even because of those holes and just kind of completing myself along the way or at least doing that to the best of my ability. And I actually feel like I explained it in my response a lot more eloquently than I did just now, but that was the bottom line, was that a good man or a strong man, that's what he said, you need a strong man, isn't going to do it because there's no such thing. Um, because it's not about the strength or the person or anything. It's just it's about the fact that it's external and outside of me, and nothing outside of you can complete you. Bottom line. And he responded back basically being like, "No, you need a strong man." And I didn't respond after that. And I'm rewatching Dexter, and I was like, "Wow, I'm like the Hannah character in real life." I am 100% the type to have in the past gone on like a spree, like a crime spree, but I would have had to have had a romantic partner to do it so I can like live out this chaotic um, like Bonnie and Clyde thing in my mind. And it was like chaos that was like moonlighting as passion, and this passion that was moonlighting as love and excitement that was moonlighting as like, fulfillment. It was all of these things. And it's like, oh, I'll take it. So I really related to the Hannah character. I would be the type to fall for Dexter. I would be the type to go on a crime spree. I have done that, in fact, and I have had, um, two of my exes kill themselves, and one of which was incarcerated. So I relate to the Hannah character. But there's nobody like Dexter in real life. The real life version of Hannah isn't somebody who like goes on to like own like a flower shop and just be like super hot and kicking ass in Miami and still like having that real wild streak. The real life version of Hannah is somebody who it's not sexy. Just like there's no real Dexter. There's no like badass vigilante like super adorable serial killer with like ethics. It just doesn't happen. And it's not because there's not people that are Dexter, like in theory, that kill and have that compulsion. There's nobody like Harry. Someone who has that Dexter ends up like his brother, not because he wouldn't have had that father who understood, who actually tried to get him to channel it. The real life Dexter is probably just like an institutionalized, broken man. And the real life Hannah is the same. It's like you can't be that empty and continue to seek out such thrilling things and find fulfillment. And Dexter was such a kick-ass concept. And I say was because I almost feel like mournful of the series. First off, I loved the original ending. I do not understand why people did not like the original ending of Dexter. I do not understand it. It was so beautiful, poetic, fitting, and so much like Dexter to, after his, spoiler alert, after his sister, the last link to his true, like, humanity, his family, once his sister was gone, I could absolutely see him taking her body, riding off into the sunset, which was really like the eye of this hurricane, dumping her burial at sea, and driving into this major hurricane and being like, if I live, I live. If I don't, I don't. Either way, I'll take it from there. That is such a Dexter thing to do because like the walls were kind of closing in, not really, but kind of. I haven't actually finished it. I'm rewatching it. I'm on season 7 of 8 in my rewatch. So she's actually just, Hannah and Dexter kind of like just starting to talk. So, that's something else. In real life, what Dexter would do with a real life Hannah is he'd fucking dump her with his son and forego his responsibilities and just leave her high and dry. That was pretty realistic. But I loved it. Like, why do people not like that he did that? That was such a Dexter thing to do. To drive off, to ride into on his boat into slice of life into the hurricane. I loved it. And some people would, I saw like even, what's her name? Carpenter, who played his sister. She said, really like he goes and like starts his double life, like in Bumfuck Nowhere. That doesn't make sense, but it kind of does, I did not mind that at all. That, it worked for me, and mainly because he rolled the dice with the hurricane and driving his boat into the hurricane. That made sense. So I will not watch the prequel. And they're like, oh, it's Christian Slater. Who gives a shit? That's not Harry. And I'm not pretending that some 7-year-old boy or 6-year-old boy is 3 years old. This is getting silly, y'all. And I was really excited about Resurrection. I still am. I watched the, what was it? New Blood. I almost said True Blood, but the Dexter New Blood. I think that was it with his dipshit son. I watched that one. And, I liked the fact that I liked the man who played like the main, like, killer of the town or whatever, the older man. He was from Pet Sematary 2. Was he from Pet Sematary 2? Is that the stepdad or whatever? But he did a really great job. There were really good elements of it. But in the end, it made no damn sense. His son you know, it's like if your son he was abandoned by his serial killer father. He tracked down his serial killer father. He knows who his dad is. His stepmom died, Hannah. And so he's like orphaned. He's looking for his dad. His dad disappoints him. He has no faith in his dad. He's almost killed. Harrison almost killed a classmate just to like watch him bleed. He's like, oh, I want to stay here. And you killed the coach. So now I have to kill you after all that. But you almost killed a classmate. But then you're going to like kill your dad and like have a happy life. Okay. It doesn't make any sense. And I watched the trailer for the new Dexter, for Resurrection. And I always thought Dexter is like the final destination of concepts, in the sense that Final Destination, the franchise, it would be so easy and fun to just recreate endless good quality Final Destination movies, because there are so many ways that people can die in weird and entertaining ways. So many ways. That show that used to be on like 1,001 Ways to Die or something, there are so many ways that people can die, and I have low hopes for that, because it looks a little too CGI for my liking. It looks a little too complex. The deaths looks like silly. The deaths in the trailer that I saw in Final Destination, they look silly in their extravagance. It's like, and then a chandelier falls and he slips on a piece of bubble gum that's like on the floor. It was like the complexity of like a Saw scenario, like Jigsaw. Didn't like those movies either. But I love Final Destination. Very low hopes. I feel like it has way too much CGI, or something about it looked too fake. That's why I hated the It remake. They shit the bed with It. I have been saying since I first watched Tim Curry play it scared the shit out of me. The original was so much better. And I was like, even when I first watched it, I was like, wow, that the ending of It looks really corny. It was done poorly. But Tim Curry was nightmare fuel, and it had nothing to do with CGI. It was just him, the character, the effects. Oh my God, that evil incarnate clown. Holy shit. And who likes clowns? Like, genuinely likes clowns? I don't know. I don't know anybody. Actually, I knew one person in grade school who liked clowns. His name was Jimmy. But I think he like a bozo or whatever, that like weird clown. I hated him, and I was like a small child when that show was like on. But anyway, too much CGI will ruin the It franchise, and too much just bullshit fakery will ruin anything. And Hollywood in 2025 just can ruin a wet dream. I'm sorry. My God. Y'all get it together. I'm calling it now because I think Dexter comes on like the 11th, or starts streaming on the 11th. I found out in a comment, and I looked it up through the Google machine, that this is correct, that there is an actual medical diagnosis called Dextrocardia, I think is what it's called. And it is the medical terminology for the extremely rare condition of your heart literally being, you were born with your heart in the wrong place. And if Dexter does not have dextrocardia, where his heart was literally formed like in the wrong side of his body, it's on the right side instead of the left. If they drop the ball and do not say that is how he lived, through Harrison shooting him directly in the heart, I am going to be irate. Point two, like Final Destination, it's just the most entertaining concept of all time. A serial killer who is an anti-hero because he kills people who deserve it, arguably. He's the anti-hero of all anti-heroes, because he really is like taking out the trash. He's doing the Lord's work. He's like kicking ass and taking names. He is adorable. Oh my Lord. Such a great actor. Love Michael C. Hall. I loved him in 6 Feet Under as well. Such a good actor. It's just great. It's a great concept. And what was cool about it was just the fact that he had this incredible circumstance that led to this amazing double life, but it was the balancing of the normal, everyday, day to day, and also not fitting in, having to fit in the normal day to day, and not fitting in because you're a serial killer, and the best kind of serial killer who, you don't have to feel guilty for liking, endless material, so entertaining, Trinity, oh my God, that was the peak. That was the peak of the show. It was. However, I did think there were a lot of highlights later on. I don't think it just spiraled down, and I really loved the ending. I thought that was beautiful and poetic and a very Dexter thing to do, because Deb was his tie to his true heart. So, you know, okay. He wakes up from a coma. It better damn sure be Dextrocardia. I hope you can look it up on Google, pronouncing that correctly. And, there's like Batista, and they're like, oh, you're the Bay Harbor Richard. Dexter would not. I think he would at this point in time. Everybody's dead. He did a double life. He tried it for a moment. He woke up in the hospital. Am I forgetting something? I refuse to rewatch it. But is everything that they have on him not totally just circumstantial, some bullshit hearsay? They have nothing on him. So what? He faked his death. So what? Or, created a new life. That is not bad. They have nothing on him, unless I am forgetting something huge. And why would he not face the music? Get out on any, number of reasons, myriad reasons why he's not going to be convicted. Face the music, get out, go back to living his life, trying to fit in, explaining what the hell happened. He could just say, I lost my mind when my sister died. I almost died in the hurricane. I came out on the other side and I said, screw it. Whatever. He could say something, and then at the end, maybe have it be like just him being go back to the beginning of Dexter, where he was just living while also having to feed this dark passenger and live with that as well. I mean, endless entertainment. But instead, my heart just sank. I was so excited for Resurrection, but the trailer, it's like all of a sudden you run away to New York instead of facing the music. You run away from Batista. You go to New York, and he could like start over there, just living and doing all that stuff. And but no, it has to be the most unrealistic, wonky ass. Oh, but here's some celebrities, like that. I'm like literally getting a headache just thinking about it. Uma Thurman and Peter Dinklage are not going to cut it anymore. This isn't 1997. Do you guys understand that? I love Uma Thurman. Nothing against Peter Dinklage. Everyone loves Game of Thrones. But it's not going to cut it. You can't just throw celebrities and big names into a pile of fucking trash and say, here, eat it, motherfucker. It's not going to work. And that is so unrealistic that he would be on the run, like a fucking $50 in his pocket or something, and that he's just going to happen to run into this billionaire jerk off, Peter Dinklage, and he's like, oh, we've been waiting on you, Dexter. And he's going to meet up with the other, this is my prediction. He's going to meet up with the other serial killers. They're going to do like a Hunger Games scenario where you're going to have to fight to the death or something. He's going to come out on top. He's going to get a boatload of cash for like winning the game. And then he's going to come back, sneak back in the mansion, kill Uma Thurman and kill Peter Dinklage. That was obviously Peter Dinklage on his like chopping block or whatever. This is my takeaway. And I really, really, really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I mean, the Dextrocardia, I hope I'm remembering that right. I should have written it down, but that better be mentioned. I swear to God, I'm going to be irate if that is not mentioned, because that is just so poetic as well. Like his heart literally was in the wrong place all along. That would make perfect sense why he lived a perfect shot to the heart. So I don't know. I have very low hopes. It's so silly. We loved Dexter because he was an anti-hero, because he was a serial killer who had this ethic of only killing people who really deserved it or arguably deserved it. He had, the rules to say he wasn't going to make like a huge mistake and kill like an innocent, and he was navigating life, and we can like all relate to that, not being able to like, maybe we all can. I sure as hell can, that not being able to fit in, but still having to try, Dexter was great. And like, where is that? And now it's just this wonky, crazy, fantastical story. I mean, why couldn't it have been more normal than that? Why couldn't he have just faced the music or had to face the music, gotten off, and then at the end, maybe like Batista found proof, and it had to be come down to like, now am I going to kill Batista and get away with it further, or am I just going to say, got me, something like that. An epic showdown of like ethics. What else was it? So, just like any number. Something else is that for some reason, I guarantee in the biggest city in America, in New York City, I bet he's just going to like turn the corner and randomly run into Detective Quinn. Like after all this time, I bet he's just going to turn the fucking corner and be like, "Oh, is that you, Dexter?" I swear to God, I bet it's not going to have any type of rhyme or reason for why he would run into Quinn. It's going to be like Sex and the City movie 2, where Carrie's going to be in fucking Abu Dhabi and just run into Aiden's dumbass. So stupid. And just like that, I cannot hate watch that show. It is the worst remake of all time. And that remake has proven that Kim Cattrall is a stand-up woman. She's the best character on that show, and that's because she turned down that trash. Is that money laundering? It's trash, y'all. It's straight up trash. It's not good. It's not entertaining. It's not funny. It's piss poor. The writing is awful. It is awful. I watch what's her name? B. There's a black lady from New Orleans who does hilarious reactions to And Just Like That, like recaps and reviews. And I watch her, but I can't watch the show. I can't even hate watch it. It's just the first season I got through it, my jaw was on the floor, and I was like, wow, are rich New York City women really this stupid? I don't think New Yorkers are. I don't think normal people are, but are rich New York City women really this stupid? Are they really this bigoted? Are they really this like racist to where in 2023 or whenever the first season came out, they're like falling all over themselves because they see a person of color? So stupid. Oh my God. But I don't know. This is why I'm just like this is why I'm rewatching Dexter, because Dexter, Breaking Bad is Into the Wild. That's another anti-hero who's just phenomenal, because it wasn't that, Walter White was a school teacher turned meth cook. It wasn't that he was a school teacher turned kingpin and also, trying to juggle a family. It was that a fucking man who had lived his life into this ravine of middle-aged mediocrity and was just smothering under the weight of all his so-called success, then all of a sudden, diagnosis or not, starts to like navigate the fringes with like abandon. You do not become a badass if you have like, a house and like a 2-car garage and in-ground swimming pool. And he was supposed to be like, oh, solidly middle class. That's a goal. And hell, not even like, a regular modest home with an in-ground swimming pool in a big city like, of Albuquerque. That is an absolute goal. That's like an aristocrat to where I am right now in my mind. But yeah, it's that he just finally actually something major cancer, stage 4 cancer diagnosis, or something made this fictional character finally say, fuck it, I am going to live before I die, or I will die trying. That is the real goal. That is the achievement. And that's why like it's Into the Wild, like for today's time, because most people don't do the Into the Wild from the get-go. They don't burn their belongings and go on this like odyssey and die like an immortal in the wilds of Alaska. Most people just like ponder and think and just like feel the slow like suffocation confines, while they look for a little like escape and respite in their life in the form of actually entertainment, which is like ever harder to come by. But that's my 2 cents for the night. Y'all have a good night.